Welcome to Books, Booze, and Murder. I'm Anna.
I'm Alexa.
We're two besties who love to read and have an obsession with true crime. Oh, thank God it's fucking July.
It's warm again. Boat life is good.
Oh my God. I mean, I just think back to wintertime and how it was so gray, and now I'm like, yes.
Well, it's like, and then you think back, and it's like, we just have cold for way too long.
Yeah.
I'll forget about it in a week, but it's cold. It's cold for way too long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How was your 4th of July?
It was good. It was relaxing.
Yeah.
We watch the fireworks and we go to bed.
Yeah.
My husband and I are boring. I don't care.
I mean, we're in our 30s. What do you expect?
Yeah.
We are no longer
Yes.
partying in our 20s like we did in our 20s.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore.
We had our usual hang out with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
No cell service.
It's always so nice.
Yeah.
The no cell service is awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, I can disconnect from people. I can just drink and read and hang out in the water, and it's great.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So how are home renovations going?
Annoying. Long. Tedious. I'm over it.
Doesn't help that you have an individual involved. He's like, I'm going to do things on my own time.
Yeah, there's that. So, you know what? I keep trying to say it's free labor. It's free labor. It's free labor. It's free labor.
But is it really free?
Yes, in theory. In the monetary value.
True.
So there's that. It's fine. Does it take a toll on my sanity? Usually.
I mean, I feel like this year in general has been a toll on the sanity. So
Yes.
what's being sane? I don't know what that is
The past
anymore.
12 months, specifically. Yeah. It's fine. I think it's fine.
That's why we have reading to escape reality.
Yes, obviously.
Thank God.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Well, to go along with that, before we jump on in, I have a question for you. Have you ever been to Maine?
Yeah, I go to Maine every summer, right at the end of June. And me and my family, we rent a house, and my dad's cousin comes out from Ohio, and we have like a duplex, and we can look out the window and we can see the beach every morning, and it's wonderful. And like I lived in Maine for a year when I was really, really little.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
Brain's not braining.
Yeah. Like right after my dad had graduated from college and I was really, really little, he got a job at Berwick Academy and was their athletic trainer at Berwick for a year.
Not surprised.
No, right?
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
And then, of course, like my mom's mom, so my great-grandmother on my maternal side, lived in Maine. They lived up in Bangor.
Oh.
So yes, I'm very familiar with Maine.
Your family is just New England all the way on your dad's side.
Yes.
Despite the Greek background.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Meanwhile, I've only been there once. And it was my graduation gift from college. And my mom was like, we're going to Maine. And I was like, cool. But I think the thing I hated about it was at the time, this cottage has high-speed internet. And we're like, sweet. Because my dad was just like, okay, like I work for myself. I can do a little bit of work on downtime. And my husband at the time was in classes and he was like, okay, cool. I can do homework.
Yep.
Yeah. They used it once and it turned out it was like a Verizon cell phone thing with limited bandwidth. And the owners were like, stop using all the internet. And we're like, well, you said it was high speed.
You said we had high-speed internet. Why would you not let us use it?
Yeah.
So say this was 2014 then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they ended up finding a library and did some work there and made it work. But yeah, so we went to Bahaba. Had some lobster.
So good.
I think my favorite though was the stand on the side of the road where the woman ran the show.
Yeah.
Like her and her partner would go out in the day and get the lobster and then she would bring it back and cook it up. And then she made a chocolate blueberry ice cream. I will never forget that woman, ever.
Oh, it's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
To add that to my list.
Clearly, there are good memories in Maine.
Maine has good memories.
Yeah. So I guess with that said, what you got for me to drink this month? Mwahaha.
So for this month, we have a very berry cooler, I guess, is what we'll call it. But it's my own version of it.
I like it.
So I have a flavored sparkling water from Sam's Club, and it's blackberry flavored
Yum.
with a little bit of gin for your tasting pleasure. And then I garnished it with some blueberries and a strawberry.
That's very pretty.
To go along with our book, The Berry Pickers.
You ready to jump into it? Because I'm ready.
I'm ready if you're ready.
Let's do it.
All right. So this book is written from two perspectives, and both from the past, meaning the people telling the story are reflecting on their lives. Joe, we are quick to learn, is dying of cancer, does not think very highly of himself, and has a lot of anger and regrets. Norma is raised by two parents in the wake of many miscarriages, which have emotionally destroyed her mother, and trying to navigate that world and have a relationship with her mother. How are these two stories connected? Let's find out. We start off with Joe, his parents, and his 4 siblings traveling down to Maine from Nova Scotia each summer to pick berries from the berry fields. They have a small cabin on the edge of a property, and they all sleep there every summer. They are an indigenous folk from the Mi'kmaq tribe, but were raised with Christian values and only speaking English. This first summer that we are introduced to the family, Joe is around 6 or 7 with a younger sister named Ruthie, who is about 4, and his older siblings, Charlie, May, and Ben. Ruthie is taken right from their camp, and no one can find her. The family attempts to file a police report, but they are no help. Joe blames himself for his sister's disappearance and his mother's despair. This starts his bitterness for the rest of his life. Now, Norma is a quiet, trusting child who is always kept inside. The curtains are always drawn, and she is never allowed to do anything by herself or travel outside of her yard without supervision. And she already knows at the young age of 4 that her mother is prone to awful headaches. If she is asked the wrong questions, the headaches tend to come on. Norma also has an invisible friend, according to her parents, and the friend's name is Ruthie. Now, as we follow Joe through the summers of returning to the berry fields with his family and looking for his sister, his mama never loses hope, since she kept Ruthie's shoes and a doll for many years and would not let anyone throw them away. But as the summers go on, the family settles into a new, more melancholy normal. The kids continue to grow up with independence and trust. One summer, when Joe is about 15, he goes to the fair with his siblings and runs into a sibling duo that's not good. They're no good whatsoever. They suck.
They're the worst.
And one of the drunks that works in the berry fields with Joe's family. This guy is just trying to get his fix, and these other 2 boys are harassing him. Charlie stands up for the man and gets beat pretty bad.
Oh, this was hard to read.
Oh, it was awful. Joe has to run off and find May and Ben to help, but by the time he returns, the boys have Charlie in a pretty solid hold and are wailing on him. As soon as he goes limp, they start kicking him with no mercy. Ben, May, and Joe rush Charlie back to their folks to try to help him. They all start driving back to Nova Scotia to try to get him help, but they can't seem to help him. Charlie dies in the back of the pickup truck, and it's another death that Joe feels responsible for because he ran to get May and Ben, but did not help Charlie. The family does not return to Maine after that summer and find other jobs to do. Ben makes his way down to Boston and paints houses, and their father works in the mill. May stays home with her mother, and Joe just picks up odd jobs to help out. Now, Norma has a pretty rough childhood as well, where she never feels like she truly belongs with her family. One summer, she asks her parents why she is so much darker in the summertime than her parents are. And her parents feed her a line about having Italian family on her father's side of the family. Now, she doesn't know any better because she doesn't know of any of her other family other than her mother's sister, Aunt June, and her partner, Alice. Norma is no dummy and believes to be adopted from a young age, but not necessarily what her heritage is, but doesn't mention anything of a sort to her parents as to not upset them and give her mother another one of her headaches. Ugh.
Mm.
As Norma keeps growing, she goes off to college in Boston, where Aunt June lives, and is walking through the Indigenous Peoples' Rights rally. She starts just walking around and asking questions, but then someone starts calling out, "Ruthie!" over and over again. And Aunt June drags her away from the rally, and they forget all about it. Norma graduates, becomes a teacher, falls in love, and gets married to a man named Mark, who is wonderful. The first hint that Norma might be of Indigenous heritage is when her and Mark take a road trip up to Canada, and at one of the gas stations, the attendant asks her if she wants to use her native card. And Norma looks at him confused, saying that she wasn't a native person. Then Norma and Mark get pregnant and tragically lose their child very late in pregnancy.
Oh,
Like,
that was
I think it
so hard.
wasn't it like 30 weeks or something?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes. And I'm like, oh,
Because I'm pretty sure he'd gone to most of the appointments with her. And then
right. And this was
something
like the only
happened.
one that he didn't go to.
Ugh,
Yeah, that was
brutal.
terrible. Mark tries to comfort her and tell her they can try again, but Norma will have none of it. She grew up in a house where the ghosts of dead babies were everywhere, and she did not want to raise a child in the same conditions that her mother raised her.
Mm-hmm.
This initiates a divorce, and of course, her mother being very upset.
Fucking.
I
That's annoying.
can't with Lenore.
I can't.
She
either.
drives me nuts.
Yes, to say the least.
Jeez, crow. Let's jump back to Joe for a minute. Joe becomes an angry junk who gets married to a wonderful woman named Cora. One night, Joe comes home drunk and ends up punching Cora, giving her a bloody nose. Is it broken to or is it just bloody? I can't even remember. It was bad, regardless. There was blood everywhere.
I think he broke her nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
He immediately runs west as far as he can go, only to stop for gas, food, and maybe the odd job to fund his trip. He runs into one Indigenous woman in the midst of a nasty storm, gives her a ride back to her house, and gains a little knowledge from her. She sends him off with some vegetables from her garden, and not even a name. We never find out this woman's name, which is wild to me.
That's a good point. I don't
Yeah.
think I really realized that.
We never learn her name. But so anyway,
Yeah.
Joe continues driving west and continues to do odd jobs like painting houses and such. He ends up going into sober living, finds out he has a daughter with Cora, and makes an attempt to continue to turn his life around. He starts sending money to Cora and his daughter, Leah, and the rest of his family when he can, thinking it will replace him as the shitty father and son that he is.
Mm.
He gets word that his father passes away, but does not go home for the funeral. Still consumed with too much shame, but heads back to the berry fields of Maine. But on his way back east, he stops at that house where the woman gave him vegetables to thank her for her kind words many years ago, and then continues east. So again, never find out this woman's name, but she seems to just be so smart and so capable of like just calming people. It's so fascinating to me, her demeanor.
You know, it kind of makes me wonder as I think about this. Have you seen Moana 2 yet?
I'm not all the way through.
So there is a part where it hints at Samoan culture. And the way that it was presented, it's like if you're not familiar with the culture, you're like, say what? What is
Okay.
this? But like when you do a little bit more research on it, you're like, oh, maybe it is the culture. So I'm kind of wondering as I think about it, if this woman like represents part of, I don't remember how you pronounce it.
Mi'kmaq.
Mi'kmaq. I'm
Tribe.
kind of wondering if there's any sort of connection.
I'd be intrigued.
Yeah.
We'll do some research and get back to you.
Food
Probably
for
not.
thought. Probably not.
So as he is leaving, the woman tells him to get a cough checked out. Still run by the same family that ran it originally, the Berry Field, all those years ago when he was a kid. He works for that same family again, along with the old drunk that was there forever ago, and fixes up that old cabin that his family used to live in to make it more like it once was. One day, Joe runs into one of the brothers that killed Charlie, gives him a good punch, and runs off, never to see him again. He claims that is the last time that he struck out in rage. He also ends up running into Ben, his brother, and Ben tries to convince him to come home again. Joe thinks about it long and hard and starts to hitchhike. And wouldn't you know who picked him up on the side of the road? Ben. Joe is in his 50s at this point, I think, and is trying to build a relationship with his daughter, but cannot seem to catch a break. As he is diagnosed with terminal cancer, he needs hospice care. Literally instantaneously as he comes home. Should have gotten that cough checked out, bro. Norma, on the other hand, has found herself a little cabin to live in, but is forced to return back to her hometown after the death of her father. Her mother is still alive, but worse than ever, anxiety-ridden. She ends up with dementia, and Norma needs to move into her childhood home and move her mother into a nursing home. In the midst of the mother's dementia, Norma overhears her mother talking to Aunt June about finding Norma. Norma confronts her Aunt June, and her Aunt June tells her that she isn't their biological child, which, of course, Norma already knew.
Yeah.
But June goes even farther to explain how Norma was found on the side of the road, and her mother had kidnapped her from her rock. Her mother, I hate, like, you must be so delusional
Yeah.
to actually believe this. Wild.
Yeah.
Wild. Her mother had convinced herself all these years that she did the right thing and never thought she did anything wrong by Norma, but now Norma is pissed.
Yeah. Can't blame her there.
I can't blame her either. She's mad at her father for letting her mother get away with kidnapping, mad at Aunt June for never telling her the truth, and again letting her mother get away with the kidnap. She's now determined to find her birth family. June takes Norma to the spot where her mother took her from the big rock by the cabin in the berry fields. She sees it as the restored cabin that Joe restored, but then promptly left and went back home. She must have missed him by weeks, maybe months. Norma is obviously pissed and doesn't even know where to begin to find her birth family. In the process, her mother passes away, and Aunt June is able to find a newspaper article about Charlie's death so many years ago.
Oh, that was so brutal.
That was wild. Which mentions this as the family that also lost a 4-year-old daughter the decade before Charlie's death. Yeah. She starts to do some digging and sends a letter to her birth family with a childhood photo of herself and a current photo along with a way to contact her. After enough time, May calls Norma and is almost positive that Norma is her missing sister, Ruthie. As soon as Norma hears... Sorry, excuse me. Pop-ups suck. As soon as Norma hears that name, she is sure that all the dreams she used to have as a child, the imaginary friend she had, were all her own memories, not dreams at all. And she was Ruthie.
It's amazing how the human brain works.
Seriously, the brain is wild that it can hold on to stuff from that long ago. Crazy. She goes and visits her family, including Joe, who cannot leave his bed easily, and starts to build a relationship with the family that she lost. Her mother takes her to church. May and Ben help her to understand their background, and they all learn about their heritage together. This book ends with the passing of Joe, surrounded by all of his living siblings, being the best dad that he can be for his daughter with the little time he has left. And he was buried by Ruthie and his daughter, who looks a little bit like Ruthie, and some of the ghosts, anger, and bad feelings start to dissipate and old wounds start to heal. And I totally forgot to throw this in there, but they went and buried him at the cabin that he restored by the stairs that he built. And then I was like, oh, what a great little ending there.
Yeah.
So good.
This book was so good, but so brutal at the same time.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I think this episode's going to be one of the hardest ones we've done, probably since, like, when we did It Starts With Us, It Ends With Us.
That was tough, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. I can see why it's popular, but it was not easy to get through, but it is so good.
It was good. It was a very good book.
For me, being adopted at birth, it was really hard to process some things. Like being told that you were adopted. I don't think I realized how much of a gift it was to be told that, like, at such a young age. And like you had mentioned, and I agreed, couldn't stand Lenore, the mom. Like,
Could not handle her.
No.
Could not handle her.
No.
She was just a giant selfish woman.
Yeah. I
Like, I feel for her with all the miscarriages. I really do, but like, come on, lady.
Yeah.
Really? You really think you're doing the right thing right now? You need your own insane asylum.
Absolutely.
Ah.
And like when it came to when Norma lost her child, like, yes, that's very difficult. I'm never gonna negate that.
No.
But excuse me. But the fact that she made such a drastic decision, and like granted, at the time she didn't know what she knew was like a lie in a way.
Right.
But I just felt like, I don't know, maybe like a part of her decision was trauma based because she didn't want to have what she grew up with.
Oh, sure.
And Lenora's actions
Directly affected Norma as a mother.
and that was not fair to me. And I thought Charlie's death was a massive injustice, especially when they're not going to really do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I will say, I loved May.
May was great. She was so freaking sassy. I loved her.
And also, like, many in the Native community, their lives are trauma, like a trauma response. And that's just what I kept thinking throughout this book is how he's living his life as a trauma response, and that's not fair, but that is reality.
Yes.
I when it came to the deaths of the dads, I think it was almost too death can be sudden. But it was so hard to be like, what? Huh? Say what? And it was actually really hard for me to read about her time living in her parents' house by herself.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this woman's living such a lonely life.
Yeah.
I understand there's a lot of people out there who like living by themselves. But I was just like, oh my God.
But like in your childhood home where your mother's ghost and your father's ghost are everywhere. It's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, based on the description of the book, I really didn't expect the timeline to run as it did, but I loved the hopping back and forth between the brother and sister.
Yeah.
And the way they came together.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Oh my God.
That was wild.
This is a wild trip. And then also the fact, like, when she found her biological family and the way that, I think it was the son of the field owner for the berries, the way he was able to connect even more, I was like, holy shit. But I think one of my favorite parts of this entire book was when all the siblings were in the car.
Oh, it was great. Giggled. I loved that was a great scene to like just visualize where it's all 4 living siblings are back together and they're just like laughing so hard that they're getting ready to pee themselves.
Well, Nora did. She had to leave the car.
Yeah, Nora was like, I gotta pee.
And they're all like in their 50s and 60s, maybe even 70s. I don't remember the age difference. But that there were many hard parts to this book. But that and then Norma's time with her birth mom too.
That was so special.
Oh, the healing.
Holy smokes. What did you think of Norma thinking her birthday was always on the day that she was took?
Oh my God.
On the day that she was taken. Like, that's the day that was always celebrated as her birthday. And then all of a sudden her mom says, no, you were born in the wintertime underneath that tree, and you were the last one born under that tree, and it was really, really cold. I will never forget that. It's like, oh, I always celebrated my birthday in the summer. And I'm like,
yeah.
How awful. But like, how awful of Lenore to do that and be like, yeah, we're going to make this your birthday.
Yeah.
It's like, the fuck you are?
Yeah. I think we both really hated Lenore.
Oh.
To answer your question, I read it. And it was one of those instances where you have to process that for a minute. And you have to be like, what the fuck? What? Huh? I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would be able to handle that because it's like everything you think in your life is true. You're like, what else is a lie?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
Yeah, this one was a trip, but I really fell in love with Amanda Peters. Like she
did good.
I think she's written one other book. I don't remember name, but like,
Something about the moon.
yeah, something like that. But I believe this is her debut novel, and oh my gosh, the fact that she's also a descendant of that, I'm just like, this
That's
couldn't,
pretty cool.
yeah, couldn't be any more perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I really like that more and more authors are representing different cultures and we're learning about it, even if parts of it are hard. That's
Mhm.
the reality of history. But
Ooh.
oh, this was so good.
This was a good book.
Good pick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm about to make things a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
What else
And
is new?
yeah.
um, so I really wanted to do a crime based in Maine. Um, and I guess to go on par, children are involved.
Oh,
So
well, let's have a drink
let's
and start going.
this is yeah, let me take a drink first because this is
Mhm.
required. This I apologize in advance. This crime is really brutal, but children are involved. Children do die. But I also think that it's important to talk about this stuff, especially when information is already out there,
Mhm.
because these children deserve to not be forgotten. And that's what I have to remind myself. And that's like going back to Berry Pickers, like Charlie, like
Mhm.
you can't forget about that.
Mm-mm.
So hold on. All right, tear off the Band-Aid.
All right, here we
So
go.
before I start, sources for this month include a fantastic article from Catherine Ramsland, who is a professor of forensic psychology. Forensic psychology.
Yes.
Grammar.
Got this.
This topic is also a forensic files episode, like classic forensic files.
Wow.
Wikipedia, while I don't want to fully rely on all of it, kind of like Reddit, it was really helpful to link some things that did make sense.
Mhm.
A article from New York Daily News, and then the channel Very Local on YouTube.
Okay.
So John Joseph Joubert IV was born on July 2nd, 1963 in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And for the sake of setting the scene, this city is north of Boston on the New Hampshire border. And he lived there until he was 6 years old before his parents divorced. And in 1974, he moved with his mom and sister to essentially a shithole apartment in Portland, Maine. And as any young boy would, he wanted to see his dad. But unfortunately, his mom wouldn't allow that to happen. And that's when I say, hello, domestic violence. And it's
Uh-huh.
also why I'm pretty sure the only thing she could afford as a single mom of two was a shithole apartment. Sucks.
Tough. That's a tough situation to be in.
His high school band teacher and mentor would describe his mom as cold, manipulative, and kept him on a tight leash. And so my assumption was she was just trying to keep things together as a poor single mom.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. In school, he was an honor roll student and liked it. However, this also made him a prime target for bullying as he was a shy and meek kid. And I think it's also important to note his body type kind of made him a target. So he was 5'6" and 178 pounds as an adult. So as a child, he's even smaller. And one teacher would comment that kids who are actually picked on defend themselves most of the time, but he didn't. So as a result of the bullying, he became even more involved in extracurriculars, which I can see that. He played the clarinet in the marching band, ran on the track team, and was a Cub Scout. Haha, some Boy Scouts. And it sounds like a pretty straightforward childhood, right? Well, his brain wasn't not average. So let's backtrack to when his parents separated. He started having dark thoughts at this point. So this included strangling his babysitter and then eating her body.
Nope. That's yucky.
I can't believe I'm about to say this. I only accept cannibalism if it's in Butcher and Blackbird.
Yeah, that's accidental cannibalism.
Yes.
That's different.
Yes.
It's yucky.
Yep, exactly. And if you don't know what we're talking about that, we did do a episode on that.
So go back and listen to it.
Yep. Please and thank you. Appreciate it. So what could have been a prime example for part of this was witnessing his dad attempting to strangle his mom. So he learned at a young age, oh, it's okay for me as a guy to strangle a woman. No.
Wrong.
No.
Wrong.
So an FBI agent would later work to understand what may have started the story that I have for you today. And the theory is Joubert had a male friend in which he had a romantic relationship with. And one summer, Joubert went away, and when he came back, his boyfriend had moved to another town. He became upset, which I would be too.
Yeah.
But when he couldn't find his friend, his mom told him, get over it.
That's not helpful.
No, not at all. It was during this time period, in his preteen years, that dark thoughts started to take over. And we're not talking the normal middle school depression. We're talking about murdering complete strangers on the street, followed by restraining and gagging those who resisted.
Yeah, that's not normal.
No.
That's not normal. Don't do that.
At the age of 13, he became violent towards others. One day, he was riding his bike when he stabbed a young girl with a pencil and rode away.
No, you don't do that.
He became sexually stimulated when she cried out in pain.
No, that's not weird or anything.
Nope. A day later, also when riding his bike, he slashed a girl with a razor blade and then rode past her. You twisted motherfucker.
Little psycho.
Since neither girl was able to identify him, he was never held accountable. That's so helpful for their cases. His violent acts weren't only geared towards girls. He went after boys, too.
Of course he did.
In one case, he beat up an 8-year-old boy and attempted to strangle him before the boy fought back and got away.
Good for that kid.
And the power he felt from these attacks would give him the motivation to consider casually stabbing and slashing others. And of course, with his body type and wanting to feel all powerful, he started to focus on children.
Of course, people smaller than you. Pick at someone your own size.
Yeah. And it was also because of, I think, like with the little age group, their little fear that they had of strangers.
Right.
And that's why we say stranger danger. Don't get into the van even though it says free puppies.
See, like, I would be the crazy motherfucker that would do that. Like, let's be very honest.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry at this point in my life.
Actually, probably at this point we'd say, ooh, books.
Books, puppies. Can I have them? Can I pet them, please? Please?
Yep. So he'd eventually graduate from high school in 1981 and would soon become known as the Woodford Slasher. Upon graduating, he attended Norwich University in Vermont before he realized, I have the freedom to do what I want and not be controlled. And he decided to skip class, leading him to flunk his freshman year.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't just skip classes and expect you to pass.
Nope.
That's not the way that works.
Nope. And as you could expect, when he came back home, he wasn't the same. Let's go to August 22nd, 1982. At the age of 19, he was riding his bike when he spotted 11-year-old Ricky Stetson jogging by himself.
Stop. That's a fifth grader.
1982. I'd like to think that this day and age that would not happen. He started to bike alongside Ricky before he got Ricky to the side of the trail, before he strangled him and then stabbed him and then bit him before slashing over it.
Yeah, that's yucky. That's yucky. I don't like the biting thing. The biting thing is weird.
Yep. Fortunately, the bruising from the bite mark showed that the killer Joubert had a distinctive set of teeth, making it easier to make comparisons later on.
Stupid mother trucker.
Oh, God. And yeah. So Ricky's family obviously became worried when he hadn't returned home by dark, so they went out looking for him before calling the police. Unfortunately, by the time the police got involved, it was difficult to see due to it being nighttime and waited until daylight to search. Nowadays, we have very powerful flashlights and we're like, okay, we're going to make this work.
24 hours, let's go.
Yep. The next morning, a man driving along the highway spotted a body on the side of the road. He initially thought it had been a hit and run before realizing what had happened. So in addition to what I just told you, there had been attempts to also undress him.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So the body had jogging pants that were pulled over the body's hips, and his sweatshirt had been messed with, and they were able to confirm it was Ricky. A year later, Joubert joined the Air Force and moved to Nebraska. It was there that on September 18th, 1983, he stopped at a gas station to get a drink. And that's when he saw 13-year-old Danny picking up a bundle of newspapers to start his route in delivering the Sunday Omaha World Herald. He soon approached Danny, pulled out his knife, and clamped a hand over Danny's mouth before forcing him towards his car. Once he reached it, he forced Danny onto the ground and bound and gagged him. Danny was then placed in the trunk before he drove out to a gravel road and let Danny out. He got Danny just into his boxers and then tied his hands and feet, taping his mouth closed with surgical tape before he pulled out a knife. He was then laid face down, Danny was, in the weeds before he was stabbed multiple times. His face had also been hit and his neck was slashed.
No.
Like, this is not an easy death, but I think it shows how much of a coward Joubert is that he had to face
A little bit.
Danny away from him.
A little bit.
Joubert also bit Danny on his leg and shoulder before carving a star pattern over the bites with his knife.
Yeah, again, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
He then disposed of of Danny's clothes in a ditch and dragged the body into the weeds.
Ugh.
And this is like, oh, so ironic. After killing Danny, he attended a Boy Scout meeting where he served as a mentor.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
No.
At all. That's a big no. Like, no, you should not be allowed around kids ever. No.
When complaints started coming in that the newspaper delivery was late, some investigating was done. Only 3 homes on his route received their paper. And when Danny's dad went out to find him, his bicycle was found propped up against a fence where the last delivery had been made.
That is unfortunate.
Knowing that Danny loved his bike, he knew that there would have been no way he would have left it unwillingly.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously soon a search was started, and 3 days later, his body would be found. Investigators discovered impressions from pebbles on the body, which wasn't consistent with the scene, so it was thought that Danny had been moved. Which, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Accurate.
Yeah. And then a month later, 12-year-old Christopher Walden was walking to school when Joubert saw him driving along in his car.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first time Christopher's mom let him walk on his own. Like, imagine the guilt factor.
How
of that.
awful that mom must feel. Like first time your mom's gonna let you walk to school. You're so big, you're so responsible, and then all of a sudden it's mom guilt for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Absolutely. So Joubert walked up to Christopher, showed him his knife, and said, "Come with me or I'll kill you." Of course, Christopher complied, and Joubert put his hand on the kid's shoulder as they walked to his car. The two drove to an isolated area where Joubert ordered Christopher to undress, again, minus the underwear.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the icy wind, Christopher complied and placed them neatly in a pile. When ordered to lie down, Christopher refused before the two struggled.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Christopher was overpowered.
Uh-huh.
And no, this time around, Joubert didn't have tape or a rope with him. So part of that fight was a little bit more difficult than usual. So even though Christopher fought and resisted, he too was stabbed repeatedly before he was bit and had a star pattern carved into his torso.
Yucky.
Like,
It's
you can see my face right now, but I hate this.
That's awful.
But these kids deserve to know, like, they're not forgotten. Okay. His school, and like, this is the part where I was like, I have to cover what the school thought, just with your connection. His school, which was located 13 blocks from his home, didn't phone Christopher's parents after he failed to appear for class.
Yeah, we do that now.
His mom had become concerned that he hadn't been seen and realized that her son was missing before law enforcement and volunteers started searching. So she was like, what the hell? 3 days later, Christopher's body was found by pheasant hunters near a wooded area off a dirt road. By this time, he was frozen and snow-covered, his books and backpack still stacked beside him.
That's so sad. That sucks.
Yeah. And yes, this obviously did prompt schools to review their policies regarding reporting absent students to parents.
Because mom didn't know until after school had let out, correct? correct?
I think so, yeah.
That would make sense
Yeah.
because, like, unless she called the school and was like, hey, just wanted to make sure my child got there safely, which parents don't do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So unlike other cases, the other cases that I've mentioned, a woman actually spotted Joubert and Christopher. However, she didn't realize it was a kidnapping. Her first thought was that a kid wasn't doing what his parent wanted him to do, and then maybe thought it was a lover's quarrel. She didn't think, regardless, that nothing was. She didn't think violent. She didn't think that, but she would later go on TV and be like, essentially, like, I fucked up. I really messed this up. I feel so guilty, and I'm like, unfortunately, with what we know now, back in the 80s, you wouldn't have known.
No,
As much.
unfortunately.
Yeah. So, based on what this woman had seen, a description and sketch was released to the public. And one day, a preschool director was prepping for kids to arrive when she saw a suspicious vehicle circling the area. Thinking it was odd, good woman, she memorized its license plate.
Good girl.
And of course, it was Joubert, and he was most likely scoping out for his next victim.
Yucky at a preschool.
Yes, absolutely.
That's yucky.
He parked and approached her, asking for directions before asking if there was a phone inside he could use. And of course, using her intuition, she did exactly that.
Not for you.
Before he threatened her and tried to push her inside the building. However, she was able to break loose and, of course, ran away. And upon reporting the license plate to the police, it came back as being a rental that was traced back to 20-year-old Air Force radar technician John Joubert. His own car at the time had been undergoing some repairs. Soon after, police went to the Air Force base where they searched his car, which had rope that was consistent with what was used on Danny, along with a large hunting knife and racy detective magazines. Upon searching his barracks, they found his duffel bag and the same rope. And I think it's important to note this rope was rare with all the colors weaved inside of it. So it was a unique composition. They were able to trace and do all that. So hours after he was arrested, Joubert confessed. Unfortunately, what he had to say matched up with the evidence. And when asked about the rope, he admitted that he'd gotten it from his scoutmaster.
Yucky.
They had brought it back from Korea, which at this time investigators already knew. So how did Joubert's murder in Maine get connected with the murders in Nebraska? Got an answer for you.
Okay.
An investigator from Portland was at an FBI workshop, and a child killer from Nebraska was being discussed. This investigator thought the story sounded familiar, and forensic evidence was reviewed. It was during this time that the bite mark found on Ricky Stetson matched Joubert's teeth marks.
Thank goodness. Again, no biting. That's yucky.
How many times do you say that to your kindergartners?
Thankfully, I've never had to tell them no biting.
Nice.
Thankfully. Knock on wood, I never have to do it this year.
Fingers crossed. So finally, 5 years after Ricky's murder, someone was being indicted. When confessing, a detective asked if he would kill again, if he ever got out of jail, and he said, "That's my big worry. It's scaring me quite a bit." Yes.
Scares you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
I have a lot to say about that. Motherfucker.
Yep. In October of 1984, he was sentenced to death in Nebraska. Hallelujah.
Bye-bye.
In Maine, he was sentenced to the max of life in prison. And so once he was done in Maine, he was sent back to Nebraska and was on death row until 1996. And I don't feel bad for him because children do not deserve to be targets. But he was executed by the electric chair.
Yeah, that's brutal, though.
He was brutal to them.
Yes, he was. The electric chair is fucking brutal.
Yep. During his time on death row, he did a lot of reading, lifted weights, and learned to draw. And 2 of his drawings depicted his murders. They were shown to crime profilers where their opinion suggested that his murder impulses were impossible for him to resist and he'd likely kill other kids.
Wonderful.
This is like the one case where I'm like, yeah, death penalty. If you know you can't stop,
goodbye.
Exactly.
Goodbye. No more breath for you.
When
No
the-
more living for
I
you.
know.
No, thank you.
When the previously mentioned FBI agent spoke to him and asked about biting, Joubert explained that he had fantasies about cannibalism from childhood, and his attempts to get rid of that was by slashing through his bite marks on each victim. But of course, that's just what makes an MO and ties all your shit together. So.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
And when it came to the magazines, he loved learning about how to not get caught. He clearly learned a lot.
Obviously, he clearly learned a lot since he got caught.
Yeah. In a way, he was killing himself over what he deemed to be the most shameful part about himself. And I think that's like the argument of like his sexuality. Gross.
Aki.
Not sexuality in that, but how he handled it.
Yeah.
While on death row, he began pleading for sympathy that he didn't want to die.
No.
And the idea was to
You
stop.
get no sympathy.
Exactly. And when asked, well, when someone approached him, they go, "Here you are pleading for your life. And all these years ago, these boys pleaded for their lives, and you didn't listen to them.
Mm-mm.
Why should we listen to you now?"
Good point.
And he said, "You're not me. You're not killers."
Yeah, and I could put myself in your shoes and still be pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
So, nope, bye-bye. Goodbye.
Yep. So in Sarpy County, Nebraska, where Danny and Christopher were killed, life hasn't been the same since the boys passed away. And as of November 2020, the county was working on assembling a memorial as a permanent reminder and the commitment to seek justice for crime victims and survivors, which that would shake up a small community.
Yeah.
And despite trying to look around for anything on Ricky, I couldn't find anything. Like I couldn't find, and it makes me feel really awful. But what I can say is he didn't deserve to die the way he did. And I really hope his family was able to try to overcome obstacles and it didn't destroy them, but I couldn't find what it was.
Yeah.
So that's my yucky story about John Joseph Joubert IV.
John Joseph Joubert. You suck.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for this cocktail. I needed it because this episode was hard.
That's yucky. I don't like no kids. No. That's yucky.
No.
It's very yucky.
I mean,
Thank you for destroying me again.
I destroyed my own brain. With research.
I have no doubts.
Oh God. Oh God.
Brutal.
Okay, I'm ready to put this one behind me.
All right. Well, let's move on next month and what book we're reading, shall we?
Yes, please. I need that in my life.
So the next one is The Maid by Nita Prose. So, a dead body is one she can't clean up on her own. That is the very first line at the very top. Molly Gray is not like everyone else. She struggles with social skills and often misreads people's intentions. But no matter, she still throws herself with gusto into her work as a hotel maid at a 5-star Regency Grand. Her obsessive love of cleaning and proper etiquette makes her an ideal fit for the job. She delights in donning her crisp morning uniform each morning, stocking her cart with miniature soaps, and returning guest rooms to a state of perfection. But Molly's orderly life is upended the day she enters the suite of the infamous and wealthy Charles Black, only to find Mr. Black dead, very dead, in his bed. Perplexed by Molly's unusual behavior, the police immediately suspect her of murder. She's soon caught in a web of deception with no idea how to untangle herself. Fortunately for Molly, friends she never knew she had join her in a search for clues about what really happened to Mr. Black. But will they be able to find the killer before it's too late? Dun, dun, dun.
Can she clean my house, please? Or the
There's some things where I'm like, there's some times where I'm like, having a cleaning lady would be really nice. And other times where I'm like, my house is actually far too messy to have anyone in it. So everyone stay away from my house, please.
I mean, that's fair. Oh, well, that sounds really interesting.
Right? I'm very
Ooh.
excited to read it.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, we do not record on a consistent basis because life is life.
Not
So,
at all.
how can people keep track of us?
They can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify at Books, Booze, Murder, or on TikTok at Books, Booze, Murder Pod.
And until next time, bye-bye.
Toodles.